Okay, so now what's happened is because as I've been, indicating, I fancy myself as pardon me, a, I don't like how the word amoral, AMORAL, if I can spell, amoral versus moral, two words, indefinite article, adjective, amoral man, moral man versus amoral, one word, space, man, right? So I'm not interested in amorality. I'm interested in morality. Just the same way as Aristotle and Plato, all your favorite thinkers. I'm just walking the walk, that's all. So I got to thinking, this is a very rare moment in the course of my mind, because what had happened was, I uploaded, because I just, for whatever reason, I love this concept of gigantomachia peritesousias, the battle, the battle of giants concerning or about being itself or existence. The idea of a discursive or a dialectical competition at the very highest level that is truly like an ultimate fighting championship. It's no holds barred. There is no advanced stipulation, a priori advanced rules about what discourses are allowed, what logic is allowed, what rhetoric is allowed. I mean, assuming that there is no violence allowed, period, no hostility, everything is pure professionalism and decorum. Like, if somebody, they used to make like whipped cream pies and stuff, splats a whipped cream pie in your face, and it's in good faith. I mean, we used to do shit like that in the speech room in Irvine High. Yeah, it was hilarious. Yeah, just don't hurt anybody. Just don't hurt anybody. Dialectic, discursive convention in good faith allows us to direct energies through discourse, sublimate energy through spoken discourse, written discourse, whatever, culture. It's aggression. Healthy aggression. Dance. Why does dance get music? You can get these kind of brew joy, like sort of Linda Wilkes. Hi, Linda. Professor Wilkes, sorry. Brew joy, Linda Wilkes, the flow, or the stream, inside the stream, outside the stream. If the stream is just a pure electrical current, I was taught, or it was discussed, we had discussed, Dr. Wilkes and I had discussed that there is a kind of economy of the stream. And roughly, if you spend too long inside the stream, you get too high, then all of a sudden you become Icarus, and I don't know. Yeah, that's fucking like, like, no, Icarus, right? But then you're dead. So don't die prematurely. That's stupid. And before you even get going. There's a lot to experience in life. There are no dead ends in life. I mean, it's just that I think that our culture is pretty lousy at teaching the logic of shifting gears conceptually and navigating objectively through the minefield of thoughts, which is a labyrinth of a minefield of a fucking spider's web of a fucking nuclear reactor of like Bergsonian exploding shells within shells and eggs within shells and eggs within shells and isotopes of fucking exploding fragments everywhere. And yeah, go find me a unity out of that, dear Professor Irishman, Joyce. It becomes a pure stream of information, pure stream of signification. The very role of, signifier and signified kind of flip. You think you're running up against the world, but actually the bedrock of what we're talking about here is something like a pure set theoretico-symbolic regime, axiomatic existence, starting at the very beginning. These are the first principles, just like the Constitution of the United States. Federalist Papers, these are the first principles. Sentences on paper. These are the axioms of my person, Demetrios Konstantinos Fergadis. They start at my birth, before my birth, conception, before conception, somewhere in each of my parents and wherever they're from. This is genealogy. Ancestry.com. It's right out in the open. Oh. Yeah, so my strange, I'm sure they're very ephemeral, genuine sympathies, if that's probably not the appropriately respectful word for President Trump, but I'll address President Trump now because I had to think of it. One of the things I've been thinking for these past 10 years is like, truly, what sort of a thinker is President Trump? And when I try to raise this question with basically anybody that I feel like I can get anywhere with, they kind of furrow a brow like, well, is that a stupid question? And I'm like, no. I mean, if we're going to be objective here, forget your political feelings. Leave that aside. Does President Trump think? Okay, well, sentences come out of his mouth? Okay, obviously, okay. So he is a thinker. He is a human thinker who has, after all, somehow become president of the United States. I mean, I make these stupid jokes about him being illiterate. Okay, we don't know what he reads. He's into the Bible, that's fine. I'm into the Bible. But if he's not really prepared to talk about which parts of the Bible he's into, then people like me, who've, I've got a couple philosophy degrees, so I'm a smartass, right? I start making jokes, the president is illiterate. Yeah. And I don't even know if I'm sorry for making those jokes, but temporarily now I do have a modicum of empathy, thus and so, because this will actually speak maybe favorably to the idea that I can be a relatively objective thinker. Let us take seriously the notion that Donald Trump is a serious thinker. Not only a thinker, but a serious thinker, whatever that means. I don't know. Here's here's a strange comparison, and I can euphemize it. There are a few figures from 20th century, especially maybe around, let's say leading into First World War, going into Second World War and beyond, somewhere in that area, first half of the 20th century. There are some very famous absolute despots who very famously had book collections of like esoteric shit, like 20,000 books. I mean, they're probably those, well, I don't know, it's destroyed now because of war or whatever, but the point is that you, in order to be the, that kind of locus of, all the judgments are originating at your position, so all of the attention is coming to you, and then you're just meeting whatever attention you're meeting, and you're just judgment. I mean, you're just like Colonel Kurtz, or non-judgment, like deferral judgment, what the fuck ever. It's your prerogative, right? You're the president. The point is, what people really are afraid that you might actually be a serious thinker, because then they would have to actually take seriously whatever the fuck you're doing when you're putting your sentences together. And there are a lot of contradictions. And, people like me who are familiar with things like dialetheism, the work of Graham Priest and, Marcus Gabriel and paraconsistent logics. I mean, this huge, massively popular, wide open territory that's under development right now in logic, non-classical logics. I know, I mean, if I won't be an asshole and sit there and rattle off the names of 100 logicians right now who I know for a fact can give you an ad hoc theory, an ad hoc logical account. They can give you a perfectly plausible, workable model of what kind of dialethetic thinker that Donald Trump is. But everybody's silent because they're scared, because they have institutional mediation. Everybody's under the institution. Everybody has families. Everybody has to worry about real adult life, etc., right? So everybody's in a bind. God bless you, Mr. President. God bless United States of America. Fuck yeah. Ja.